Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a playthrough of the upcoming game, The Mandalorian Adventures. And disclaimer that I was sent an early review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our podcast for reviews and design discussions, or come and say hi and join the conversation on our Discord. So The Mandalorian Adventures comes with a mission book with 4 different missions, and additionally, as you play through those missions and play the game more, you're going to slowly unlock more options and things from this guide deck, and eventually you'll even open up these 2 envelopes with even more play options. Now, I know some of you are more spoiler-averse than others, so I'm going to do 2 playthroughs in this video because it is a pretty quick game. The first one will be the very first mission with absolutely nothing unlocked, so if you don't want to know anything about the game, you can just see the basics of play with that one. And then the second one is going to play with all the major things unlocked, and that'll kind of give you a better idea of the full scope of cooperative and solo play in the game, so you can make a more informed decision. I'll also have a review of the system that'll be mostly spoiler-free pretty soon. So let's jump into the first mission, and you have these fun illustrated recreations of moments from the first season of the show for each of them.
I'm brooding and I want a job.
Hey, I've got a job for you. Go meet with the scary Imperial Nazi.
I'm going.
Hi, we're stormtroopers.
Ho ho ho, I will give you some metal if you go kidnap a baby for me. Sound good?
I'm going to fly there and ride creepy things. They smell. My binoculars broke. I only have one eyepiece.
Hello, I am your robot ally. Let us work together to rescue that baby. All right, so here we go, getting into the actual meat of the game. So this is Bounty on Arvala 7. This is the first of 4 missions in this base book. And first, getting to setup, we've got a whole bunch of these little encounter tokens here, and each of them is going to have a different icon on the back, circles, triangles, squares. And that corresponds to these spaces on the board. Anything with a question mark is going to be randomized and start out face down. Anything without a question mark is going to be randomized but start out face up. So here we go with everything randomized and set up. We've got a bunch of enemies, some circular tokens that will be either surprise enemies or our objectives, and some triangles inside the building we're trying to reach. One of those is going to be the adorable Baby Yoda Grogu. And then we've got up to 8 characters in the game, each with their own unique deck they can play with, but the scenarios do suggest that you play with the ones that are thematically and narratively in the game, which is the Mandalorian and IG-11. So I'm going to put both of them here. And what's going on in this scenario? So you've got all the rules you need. Up here it says map rules, bunker access. During your action step, you may take a door control feature found on circle threats from your space and place it below. When we have both tokens, the door is unlocked. And then it says capture the asset. A character is in the asset space found on a triangle token at the end of any player's turn. That's how we win. We got to go through these 5 circle tokens and find the 2 that open the door, and then get one of us onto the triangle. Boom, if we survive until the end of that turn, we're good to go. And we fail if either character is defeated. We've got 2 characters here, IG-11 and the Mandalorian, and you can play on novice difficulty where they each have 8 health, or on basic where they have 6. That's what I'm doing. Now, let's go into the actual gameplay. So how the game works is you'll have 4 cards in your hand from your character's unique deck. Or if you're playing on the harder difficulty, you'll have only 3 cards to limit your options. So on your turn, you pick 2 cards from your hand, and you play them one at a time into these action columns here: move, attack, intel, and plan. By the way, this is from the same team that did the initiative, so if you watch my video of that, you'll see a lot of similarities here. So let's say like I wanted to move, and then I wanted to attack. I would put cards like that. And as you play cards, you'll be able to resolve the action indicated at a strength equal to the value played up here. So if I moved with a 2, I can move up to 2 spaces, 1, 2. If I attacked with a 2, I could attack someone in my space or in an adjacent space. You have 1 range for most attacks for that much damage. So like if I attack this guy here that has 2 life, he would be defeated. The intel action gives you 2 different options. That's how you look at these face-down tokens to figure out which one, in this case, is the key to the door. So if I was here, I could look at this one because a 2 gives me at least 2 range to look, and I would flip it, and I could tell other players what I see, although you're not technically allowed to show it to them. The other option with an intel action is you can pick someone within that range, an enemy token, and move them 1 space. So you can kind of like get people out of your way or put them into a better position for attacking, that kind of thing. And then finally, a plan action interacts with these planning cards here. Whatever number you play, you get to draw that many cards, and most of these are positive things like defend cards that prevent damage from hitting you, or retaliate cards that hit enemies back for damage when they attack you. And when you do a plan action, you draw however many cards. Like let's say I did a 3. I get to keep one of them if I want. I can put one of them back on top of the deck if I want. Both of those are optional. And then I discard the rest. And there are negative cards in here, like this bad luck one that just does nothing. So you want to ideally discard those and put good cards on top of the deck. So that was the action step of your turn. And then in the event step, you check each action slot going from left to right, and you add up the value of any tokens that are there, because some events and things will put tokens, and you start with one randomized on each spot, along with any cards in that spot. So let's say over the course of several turns we had done this, and we have 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. And then if it's at least 5 or more, we're going to resolve an event from an event deck. I'll show you that in a second. And if it's 6 or more, you also do a crisis for your mission. And that's indicated over here. In this mission, each crisis token is going to place a damage token here, and once we have 3 of them, we'll spawn an extra enemy. They'll be coming out on these little star spaces. That's from a separate spawn group of tokens that wasn't placed at the beginning. But again, a crisis only happens with a 6 or more. But with a 5 or a 6 or more, you get to draw the top card of the event deck and resolve it. You can always see what the topmost card's back is. It's going to give you indications. So this one, you don't really know what it's going to do, but this one's going to activate melee enemies, that icon there, or this one's going to activate those little like sniper-looking enemies. That corresponds to the tokens above their health here, so you can have an idea of what's coming. And then after resolving the crisis, if you did a 6 or more, and the event, if you had 5 or more for that given column, you discard everything there, the character cards and the tokens, and you continue assessing for the other ones. And then at the end of your turn, you draw 2 more cards, bring your hand back to 4 or 3, and you're good to go. Now, some of the cards just have a value, like this IG-11 card is just a 2, but many of them will have special things going on. Some of them just have an action icon underneath their value, like this Mandalorian card here. And what that means is if you played in that column, although you could play it somewhere else for no bonus, the value of the card is counted as 1 higher for the action. So here it's really a 2, 1 plus that. It's a 2 attack. But when it comes to counting the column and whether it's going to fire off an event or a crisis, only the value is counted. So this is a 1 for firing off the event, but a 2 for actually attacking. So it gives you a little bonus if you put it in the right column. But then cooler than that are special cards like this. Move for sneak attack, flamethrower for attack, intel for tracking fob. If you play those cards in the indicated column, in addition generally, although some of them do it instead, to doing whatever this says, you can do this before or after resolving the action. So here's sneak attack. If you do this as a move action, before or after you move 2, you can deal 2 damage to an enemy in your space, and that's before resolving enemy abilities. The only ability we have in the enemies of this scenario, by the way, is this one, which is the Sentry ability. If a character does a move action and ends their move on the person's space or within 1 space, this person does 1 damage to them. And that should be enough to go on. When we get to our first event cards, I'll explain how the enemies activate and move and do that kind of stuff. But let's get to the game. So I'm playing the game solo, and the official variant to do that is that you shuffle 2 character decks together, and then you're drawing cards from both of them, and I still play 2 cards in my turn, but whichever character those cards correspond to, so here I've got 3 Mandalorian, 1 IG-11, that has to be the character taking the action. So if I played Sneak Attack for a move and special ability, it would have to be the Mandalorian doing that move. Now, when you're playing multiplayer, you're not allowed to show other players your cards, but you are allowed to freely say exactly what you have. So like, hey, I have a tracking fob card. It's a 4. I get a bonus if I do intel. So honestly, you're totally fine just multi-handing for solo, I think, even though it's not how the rulebook presents it, because it's not like you're really cheating and giving more information by knowing both hands than you would be. But for this play, I'm going to show you what the official solo mode looks like. All right, so looking around, I can see the first event is a question mark, so it's not going to probably activate any of the enemies near me. I need to go investigate some of these circles and find the keys. I've got a bunch of enemies all around here. So in terms of my card, I've got Flamethrower. It's a 2-value card, but if I do an attack action, I can do a free 2 damage to an enemy in my space. So like if I moved into somebody, I could, I guess, straight up kill a 4 person, because I'd do 2 damage if he was in my space, and then do a regular attack for 2. Or I could like defeat this person if he was in my space, and then also attack somebody else. Sneak attack, you saw, that lets you move and then deal 2 damage to an enemy in your space. Unfortunately, I am 3 spaces away from every enemy nearby, so I'd kind of be wasting that. Tracking fob lets me look at something within 4 if I do an intel, and I can also move 1 space. Ooh, so actually, I like this combo. I'm going to do a tracking fob for 4. So I get to do an intel action, and before or after it, I can move 1 space, ignoring enemy abilities. So that's 4 away, and that's 4 away. When you're counting distances, you can't go through red spaces like this. Those are blocked off. You also can't go through locked doors. but you can count around corners, and that includes for like range combat when you're doing things at range and such. You can also count through elevated terrain, like these guys that are on buildings. So if I had like a 2 range attack, I could go like 1, 2. Yes, that's getting rid of like the plateau effect that most war games would have, but they're going for simplicity here. All right, so I've got 4 range on the intel, and then I get to move 1, and I'm thinking then I'll use my sneak attack to kill this guy or this guy. So I guess I want to look at these circles and see which one might be good. Let's check this one. Okay, so I see that is an enemy. Now, because it was an intel action, I am just peeking at this. I'm not really flipping it over. If I ever move into that person's space, then they would activate it. And in this case, because they have the sentry ability, they would also immediately do me a damage if I moved into that spot. But yeah, that means that I can freely ignore that place. And now with the other part of tracking from, I'm going to move 1 space. So I'm saying forget you and going over here. And then I'm going to go in and try Sneak Attack. So it's a move action for 2, and then before or after the move, I can deal 2 damage to an enemy in my space before resolving enemy abilities. So if this guy had Sentry, he would be too late, but now I'm just going to go 1, 2, boom, and blow him up. And now I'm close to this one to investigate that. Hopefully it is not an enemy. Okay, and now I'm checking for events. 3 is fine, 2 is fine, 7, uh-oh. So because it's 6 or more, I do the Crisis and put a damage token here, or 1/3 of the way to a free reinforcement. And then because it's 5 or more, we're going to resolve this top event, which says Thermal Detonator. Deal 1 damage to any character. And I'm going to pick the Mandalorian. You'll see when we get deeper into IG-11's deck that a lot of his coolest abilities require him to hurt himself to fire them off. So I kind of like to spread the damage a bit that way. Now we do see what's on top of the event deck now, which is a 5+ for melee. Which means, we've got 2 of them very close to the Mandalorian. But this goes away. The 3 that start on the intel goes away. So now intel is fresh and clean, but move already has 3, so 2 more will fire that off. And I draw 2 more cards, and hey, I got a whole bunch of IG-11. So the solo mode does tend to like kind of switch you between characters just through the nature of the deck. So what do I have going into IG-11's turn? I got a basic 2, a basic 1. That is better if I use a planning action. It would let me look at 2 cards. And then here's one of those abilities I talked about, Calculated Risk. If I use it for intel, deal yourself 1 damage and perform a free 3-strength action of your choice, even if you already performed it. So you'll see things like this where it's like a free action. They can get rid of the normal like once per turn action thing. So like I could plan here for one of my cards and then play Calculated Risk, but for the 3 action, I could do another planning. So it lets you like kind of break the rule of 1 action per turn. Say, what the heck? Let's get into the thick of things. So I'm going to go ahead and play Calculated Risk first. And I'm going to use the ability first to do a free 3-value action. I'm going to move 3 and go here. You only check the Sentry ability if you end your move adjacent or on them. So him passing by, even though I guess I could have gone that way, would not cause any damage. Okay, and then he also gets to resolve a 3 intel. Mandalorian can look at that one pretty easily. Let's check what this one is. Oh, there's one of the keys we need. One of the 2 to open the door. Then for my second action, enemies don't activate until we let them, so I'm not worried about these guys. So let's go ahead and do this one. So that's going to be a planning. Normally it would be a 1, but it's a 2 because of that icon. So I'm going to draw the top 2 cards of this. And we got Strategize. During your turn, discard this to draw 2 skill cards and or perform 1 additional action this turn. Interesting. So I can keep one of these if I want. I can put one of these on top of the deck if I want, and then the rest can get discarded. I don't really need 2 of these, so I'm going to actually discard the second one. But the first one goes with IG-11, even though I'm playing with multiple characters. Since he got it with one of his actions, it kind of belongs to him. And a given character can only have 1 copy of each planning card at a time, so IG-11 could not get another Strategize. Now, in this case, this card just kind of helps me as a player, so it's not as important that he owns it. But for the ones that like retaliate against damage or prevent damage, then it matters more who's holding it. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to say, IG-11 got a damage from using that little intel ability. All right, and that's 2 actions, 3, 2, 3, 2, so we are totally fine, no events yet. And we got Emergency Repairs for IG-11. If he uses a 1 plan, he heals 1 damage from any character in his space that has 2 or less remaining health, including himself. So if he takes 3 more damage, that'll help him heal. And we just got a basic 4. So we still don't have 2 cards for the Mandalorian. If he had gotten like a 2 or something, he could have moved up here and use his flamethrower to kill this guy or hurt that guy and start killing that guy. But no such luck, so I guess we're going to do probably an IG-11 turn again. Now, something I didn't say about movement, because you might want me to just rush over and get that token right now. Anytime you move into a face-down token, your movement ends. You lose any remaining points. And anytime you move into an enemy, your movement ends. So IG-11 couldn't just like run right here currently. He would have to stop on this guy's space and then do another movement later. But here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to use the emergency repairs. That one's not going to be helpful for a while. We're not that hurt. To move a single space. So it's not quite going to fire that off yet. And then I'm going to use this basic 2, which also will not quite fire things off yet, to defeat this melee guy. Because remember, we know melee enemies are about to activate, so taking out one of them is definitely a good thing. And now he's also cleared a path to the first of the 2 keys we need. And we are just barely under 4, 4, 3, 2. We're definitely going to have some events soon, but not yet. Okay, and yeesh. These are some high values, like higher than I need. I guess I could do like a 2 move for IG-11, and then a 4 attack, and he could just blast this guy right next to him. Or, ooh, I could do the 4 attack first and kill the melee guy, and then blast him. Although, I will note that this card is going to activate melee people, and anytime that a card doesn't do anything, like if there are no melee people on the board, which would be the case if I blew up that 4 guy, then instead they get a free reinforcement. So often I find you want to like leave 1 guy of each type alive. That seems pretty good. I could also use my strategize to just draw more cards, but honestly this is a pretty decent turn, I think. So I'm going to do a 2 move. That'll certainly pop in a second. And then a 4 attack. So let's go 1, 2, and we got our first of 2 keys. Maybe that one next to the Mandalorian is the other one. We don't know yet. And then the 4 attack, you cannot split damage unless a card says you can. There are some that let you do that. So yeah, this guy's a little stronger. Let's blast him. Okay, now there's definitely some stuff going on this turn. 1, 3, 4, 6. So sadly that means a damage token is going right here, and then we'll do the event. So, Brawl, let's look at what this card does. So, first of all, it'll tell you how many of a given type of unit will activate. So here it's saying all melee people on the board will each move 2. They'll always move towards the nearest figure to them. Now, many of these activations, you'll see it here for the attack, will give a number of those types of enemies that you activate. Now, here it's all, but like if it was only 1 and there were 2 on the map, we would get to pick which ones move. And then we have to attack with as many as we possibly can. Also, when you're moving, you have to pick ones that can move if possible. And here they're going to attack at range 0. They always do 1 damage to you if they're in range. There's no like damage values or anything. Okay, so the only guy, boop, boop, he's closer to Mando. And then there's only 1 melee guy, so he's going to attack for 1 damage. And I mentioned before that if a card did nothing, they would do a reinforcement spawn instead. But it would have to literally do nothing. Like, let's say there was a melee guy farther away, and he did the move too, but didn't get to do the attack. That still counts as the card having made an impact on gameplay, so you would not spawn a reinforcement then. All right, Tamando's down to 4 life. But we aren't done. I also popped attack, which means first we're going to get a new reinforcement. Yay. And it says to spawn it in the star space with the fewest enemies. In the tie, I get to pick, so let's put it on the farther away spot. It's another little pistol dude. And then, just by chance, we got another thing. Sorry, Mando. So everybody would have moved up to 3 spaces, and then 1 person would have attacked, which means the one on Mandalorian. So he is half dead. It's going great. Going great. And the new event card has icons of everybody. This usually means like one of them is going to move, one of them is going to attack, one of them is going to do something else. So it's harder to kind of predict what's about to happen. And all right, let's see what I draw. Beskar Armor. Okay, instead of performing this action, the plan action for 1, search the planning deck and discard power for 1 defend card and take it, then shuffle the deck. Defend just cancels the damage you're about to take, so it's really great. Okay, actually, we're all Mando all the time. We still have the flamethrower and then a 3 and a 4. The Beskar Armor thing is pretty great, but I also kind of just want to intel for 1. I mean, I could just move in there, but it literally brings a whole extra enemy into the game, so it's usually not a great idea to just kind of keep on splashing things. I could also use flamethrower and just burn the melee guy next to me, because I'd do 2 damage to an enemy in my space, and I could shoot him for the other 2. But also, if I just run away from him, he's not going to be doing much. So, yeah, let's keep trying to pursue the objective. I'm going to play the 1 there instead of getting the Beskar Armor. I'm going to look. Oh, okay, this is a healing med pack. Now, because it's going back face down, it would still end my turn if I moved in there, like end my movement. So that would still end my move if I go in there, but I can discard that to heal 1 damage, which is pretty nice. Although, yeah, it's really... Okay, so one of these 2 is the good one, and I gotta do another action. I guess I can move Mando. Maybe I do... You know what? Let's just do the flamethrower. I feel like there's not going to be any more melee cards for a while, so getting rid of this guy probably isn't a bad thing. And nothing hit 5, so we're going again. I know, still a lot of Mando ones. That's a plan bonus. How about, let's see, a 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so a 4 would let us see through the building what that token is. That's going to totally pop intel, but it's already at 4, so I don't really mind that too much. We're pretty far away from this going off. So let's do that for our first action and find out. Okay, good. That means that the one that IG-11 is next to is our goal. And I could move him right now to get it, but that's a lot of points there. But yeah, I want to save like the moving and attacking for IG-11. He's kind of in the more important position. So let's have Mando do a plan. We'll fire off 2 event cards this turn. So because it's got the icon, he's drawing 4 cards. And we've got the defend, we've got another strategize, we've got some bad luck. Well, I'll actually discard the strategize too. Again, I don't really like those since I already have one, but I'll keep the defend on Mando to protect him. Although, again, just to explain, I could have put the strategize on top of the deck. You can do that for one of the cards you drew, and then you discard the rest no matter what. All right, and there's definitely some stuff going on. This is 6 or more, so Intel is putting that token there. Then we resolve this one. So melee people are going to move 3. There aren't any. Pistol people are going to move 2. There's a lot of them. Well, actually, not a lot. 2. So let's see. This guy's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he'll move towards IG-11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. He'll also move towards IG-11. Great. They're just all in front of the door. Lovely. Okay, and then finally, sniper people are going to move 1. Oh, geez. So this guy's going to move on to IG-11. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay, this is just everybody's hanging out with IG-11 today. And then I guess this guy's going to leave his little rooftop thing and go down the ladder here. That part's not too bad. And that's it. Okay, just a lot of movement. We can deal with that. Although, yeah, we're going to have to murder some people before we can even get the door key now. And then we got to exactly 5 with plan. So we just resolve another event. Just draw attention. Flip the nearest face-down threat face up. So this is important for the solo mode when we're spawning for things like nearest and all that kind of stuff. You have to pay attention to which character card actually fired off that ability. So here, because a Mandalorian card was the final card played on plan, it counts as though he were the one doing that action, which means that when this says flip the nearest face down threat token face up, we flip this one, which is lovely because now we can just run through that for free. You can grab medkits as you go, won't even slow him down. And we did not have to flip any of these guys that we know are enemies, so that worked out great. By the way, we see that snipers are next, and there are a bunch of them on the board. Okay, what are our cards looking like? A 3 for Mando, 4 for IG-11. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. Dual blasters. When performing this action, split the damage as you choose between 2 threats within range 1. Since he's kind of surrounded, I like that a lot. And then calculated risk. Deal yourself 1 damage to perform a free 3 strength action of your choice. Although it's only if I do an intel, which maybe is not the most important thing to do right now. Although intel can also move enemies, so I'm thinking I could like do dual blasters, kill the guy on me and hurt the guy next to me, and then do like calculated risk to move the guy next to me out of the way, and then also move on to the door key, maybe? Sure, I like that. Why not? So we'll do dual blasters for 4 attacks, split up. So I'm going to kill the guy on my space because we know that they're about to activate. And then I'll do 2 damage to this guy. Then I'm going to do intel to do within 3 intel action. I'm actually going to move this guy into my space, I think. And then I get to do a free action for 3 values somewhere else. So I'll go over here, and we have unlocked the door. So now we can intel through here, because one of these is Grogu and one of these is an enemy. And then we just got to land on the right one. But first we are doing a crisis and an event. What have they got? Ambush. Oh, we're spawning somebody on the nearest star space. And this was IG-11 firing that off. And then 1 sniper is going to shoot it up to range 3 if they can. So the nearest spawn space to IG-11 is here. And, it's a melee guy with that sentry ability to hurt us if we move and end our space adjacent to him. And then we got to shoot with 1 sniper person. Now we have to choose someone who can actually make an attack if possible. This guy, range 3. No. This guy, unfortunately, you can count through elevation. 1, 2, 3. Yup, so he's going to hit Mando. But let's go ahead and defend against that and not take the damage. So now IG-11's kind of penned in. I would love to get some Mando cards and maybe like rush in here. Okay. What's this one? Amban Phase Pulse Blaster. Instead of performing a 3 attack regularly, deal 3 damage to a threat at exactly range 3. That's pretty cool. Oh, by the way, top of the deck is this. Going to be a lot of random stuff happening. Let's go ahead and use our strategize card and draw 2 more things just so we kind of have better options here, get like the exact values we want. Draw their fire. Move. Deal yourself 1 damage to deal 2 damage to a threat within range 1. So it's like a better version of Mando's one where he did damage to somebody in his space, but he has to take damage to do it. I could I could just take the 50-50 chance, I'm thinking. I could do a move value like 3 or 4 for Mando to get him really close to the door. Yes, he'd get sentryed all over the place. And then I could do like something innocuous like an attack or a plan. And then on the next turn, I can move Mando straight onto one of the tokens without ever doing intel, because clearly unless I can get like a 1 intel to work, I'm going to fire off a thing. And maybe I'd get lucky and find Grogu right off the bat. Or I could just splash intel all the way. Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to have IG-11. I'm going to do a split turn this time, IG-11 and then Mando. So 4 for IG-11. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's pick, I guess this one's a little harder to get to. There he is. Okay, so that's Grogu. So we got to get to Mando there. So if we move him close enough, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then he'll be good to go, even though he'll get plinged a little bit. So I'm going to use this to move him. I'll grab the healing on the way. So 1, 2, 3. But then he takes 1 damage for sentry, so it evens out. And he's still at 3 out of 6 damage. Although, I forgot about the stupid, because we went over 5, we're going to do another token here, which immediately spawns an enemy on the emptiest spot, which means now we can't just move in there smoothly, but we can easily attack, right? Now, by the way, this guy spawned as a sentry, but not because I, moved in there, so he doesn't get an automatic damage. Okay, and then we also get an assault. So, melee. One melee person is going to move 3. The only melee person is here, and he's just going to come into Mando space. That's fine. Hello. And then either a sniper or a pistol guy is going to attack at range 2. And there's a billion of those, so I can basically pick if Mando or IG-11 is going to take the damage. Let's say IG-11 is, because he had 2 damage, and Mando had 3, so now they both have 3. All right, so this should be pretty easy to win now, right? Mando can do a single attack, get that guy out of his way. The person being on his space doesn't stop him from moving. And then he needs a 3, so he'll move 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello, buddy. And this worked out just like in the show, right? IG-11 was the distraction, and Mando got the goods. And then we do have to still resolve this, because we only win if we are on the space at the end of the turn. So that's another crisis. And then, it's just a lot of spawning, so it's not going to matter. But we would spawn on the nearest. They're equidistant, so let's say there. And then we would spawn also on the other one. And that is it. Even though clearly we would have to blast our way out, this is where technically the objective is met when we have Grogu in our possession. So we have won the first mission with all the basic stuff, nothing unlocked. So if you don't want to see any spoilers for new cards and new mission types and all that kind of stuff, then stop watching here. You can check out my review soon. But if you want to see some of the things that complicate the game picture, go ahead and keep watching. Okay, if you're still here, I hope you're ready for spoilers, because I'm going to share basically everything. And these are really unlocking more options for the game, more modular ways, and more ways to make it tough. All right, so I'll assume you want to know that stuff. So first of all, you unlock mercenary missions that can supersede most of the rules, but can go with any of the 4 maps in the game. So since there's 4 mercenary missions and 4 story missions, and there are other missions that unlock even later, basically even though there's only 4 maps, it kind of changes up a lot of the stuff in the gameplay. So it's really like you got, I don't know if I'm doing the math right, 36 combinations of missions or something like that. But just to warn you for that count, some of them want you to use the hidden motives modular element, which means there will be maybe a hidden traitor in the game. So if you hate that kind of thing, then I think it's more like 20 missions total, somewhere like that. Another thing is that you add tons of cool cards to the player decks that have more interesting abilities. I'm playing this time, by the way, with Paz Vizsla and Migs Mayfield, Bill Burr himself. And additionally, you'll see the character cards got replaced, and now you have a once per game ability for each character. That's something that comes with the unlocks. And then another thing is the enemies get harder and more abilities. You'll see this guy has like a little 1 yellow dot over here on the left, whereas this guy has 2 red dots. So if you want to play on a higher difficulty level, which is what I'm doing, then you replace the basic guys with these guys. So every mission has more like enemy abilities going on, a tougher challenge. You also add a bunch more cards of the event deck, so more varied things will happen there. And they have new rules cards that kind of simplify all the effects you might encounter. You also get a Grogu deck, and you can carry Grogu around, although even in the regular second mission, you'd be doing that. So long story short, you can make the game a ton harder. I'm playing on the highest difficulty. We're probably going to lose horribly here. And I'm doing mission B on map 2. Again, all these combinations. So map 2 is normally when the Mandalorian is trying to escape with Grogu. So you're doing this big battle, and some of these triangle spots are going to be enemies. Some of them are going to be covert Mandalorians, which are then things that you can use to do free damage or get other free attacks. But obviously, you'll have to either move on to them to find that out or intel them. But yeah, in the regular mission 2, you're just trying to get Grogu to that gold star spot. In this one that I'm playing, the egg, I'm trying to get this egg, which is deep in enemy territory. It's a lovely place to go to, and bring it to this, where is he? This Jawa over here. But meanwhile, Grogu's is chilling a little bit farther away. I got to go grab him and protect him. We've got this giant mud horn with 12 life just rampaging all over the place. And if Grogu takes 4 damage, which will either happen if melee people attack him because they're actually going to be focusing on him with this hunted rule instead of us. They'll charge towards Grogu no matter what. But also at the end of every event phase, if nobody's carrying the child, and that often happens because if you're carrying him, you can pick him up, by the way, anytime you're doing an action in his space. So like if you just move through there, even if you keep on going, then you'll just pick him up. But anytime somebody gets shot and doesn't block it, Grogu like jumps out of their arms and gets freaked out. So at the end of any event phase, we're going to take damage if that happens. And then anytime we get a crisis in this one, we're going to move every melee unit on the map, including the Mudhorn, 2 spaces towards Grogu. And then if we've defeated the Mudhorn, he pops back up into space 3. So for like these special missions, instead of the icons, there's little numbers in the corners. So that told me to put the Jawa in 2, the egg in 1, the Mudhorn in 3. And God help me, I'm also playing on the difficulty setting where I only have 3 cards at a time to choose from. So let's meet our characters. Paz Vizsla, he was in like a lot of the first season of Mandalorian. He's like a guy with a minigun. He shows up later in the other series too. So he's all about those planning cards. And by the way, this is like the only deck that didn't change at all. But his once per game is when a character draws cards with the plan action, they can keep any number of those cards, although they can still only have 1 of each. Then you flip his character card to show it's been used that time. And, I actually started with 3 of his cards. So a lot of his cards, you can see it here, rely on people having planning cards. So look here, if I do a 3 intel action, choose any character, and they perform a free 3 strength plan action. So he can get them planning cards. I mean, like a lot of his things will give boost to planning cards. What else did I get? Jetpack, Mandalorian also has this. I can move directly to any space within range 3. Oh, and this, by the way, is another cool new thing. I like these a lot. They're called tactical skills. And they don't have a value. How it works is anytime they're played into any column, at the end of the round of the event phase, that column counts as being a 5. So, you want to wait until like something is like a 4, and then boop, now it's a 5. Yay. But yeah, they will always fire off an event wherever they're played. All right, so we started out with pretty nasty intel. Attack isn't too bad, move isn't too bad. What's going on around us? Let's talk about some of these new abilities. So these are basic ones that wouldn't be in the envelopes. So Sentry, you already saw. Grapple is if you move out of their space, you take a damage. Mission effects, I don't think we have any in this one. And then Sabotage, I don't think I see any. I hope not. Whenever they move from an event card, they disrupt the action with the lowest strength, which means putting another one of these tokens on it and making it more likely to pop earlier. Okay, and then expert abilities that only show up on the harder tokens. Tough, when you deal damage to them, you discard the bottom card of the planning deck, and if it's defend, they cancel 1 of the damage, so you might want to do a bit of overkill. Looks like that guy is the only one who has it currently. Steadfast, you can't move them with intel. It's not too big of a deal. That guy's the only one who's got it. Hunter, whenever they would move or attack, they move or attack the character with the least remaining health. Looks like that guy's going to be hunting us down. And then Barrage, when attacking, damages all characters within range, not just the nearest. I don't have any of them yet, but a lot of these triangle tokens were replaced. So some of them, they even took away some of the Mandalorians and turned them into enemies. Just a joy. Okay, so first things first, I absolutely need to go get Grogu. And Jesus, I guess. Yeah, it's really rough to only have 3 cards in your hand instead of 4. Let's do a move 4 to get Grogu. Or I guess I could just do the jetpack. Either way, it's going to fire off, but the jetpack would only do the 5 instead of the 6. So sure, we can do that. And then I guess a 3 intel, which will pop that one. Okay, so first let's resolve the jetpack. I'm going to go ahead and fly straight to Grogu and pick him up and hope I don't get killed. Another thing that gets unlocked while you are carrying Grogu, whenever you draw cards, one of them can be a Grogu card, and they have their own fun abilities, like with his force powers and stuff. Okay, and then for intel, I can look at something. I can't go through there, so I have to go one of these 2 ways. Let's check out this one. Okay, so that is an enemy with Sentry. Great, so we're going to try to avoid that, and I guess hope that's not also an enemy. And then I can choose any character to perform a 3 strength plan action. Let's have Paz do it himself because he might get attacked, and so a tough would be nice, or a defend. And then also he has more cards that benefit from having planning things. Okay, so a 3 plan. Okay, so he'll keep 1 defend. He'll put 1 on top of the deck because those are great, and he'll discard the bad luck. Of course, being on top of the deck, if he hasn't used his plan yet, I want to have Migs be the one who does it. Migs, by the way, is all about damage to enemies. So his once per game ability is Outmaneuver. At the start of any player's turn, move up to 2 damage from enemies to different enemies, and then flip this card. And you'll see when we get into like his special actions, they're all about damaged enemies. Like if an enemy is damaged, do this to it. Or if an enemy is damaged, you can move by it for free and that kind of stuff. All right, so we're popping a bunch here. We got 1 event from here because of a tactical action. Question mark. Concussion. You're dealt 1 damage unless you discard the top card of your skill deck. If that card does not have an ability, resolve 1 additional event card. He's probably going to get attacked again, so let's go ahead and discard it. Darn it. I have to resolve another event card. Okay, what's this one? Surgical Strike. It's a 2 damage, or 2... I have to have 2 snipers attack at range 3. After an enemy attacks, move it 1 space away from the nearest player. And, oh, God, we got a billion snipers, so we are not going to be able to, like I was hoping, not drop the child. Darn it. Because the rules specify I can pick who attacks, but they have to attack the nearest person. So let's have this guy attack me first, and then he can't move farther away, so he'll just stay where he is. And then I guess I can have this guy. Let's have him get kind of out of the way a bit. So I can defend the first attack, but I take damage from the second one, which means Grogu jumps out of my hands. And here's the nastiest thing. Whenever Grogu flees, you have to put him in an adjacent spot, and it has to have an enemy or face-down token if possible. So I guess I'll put him here since it might just be a nice Mandalorian. Okay, so that was rough. Now Intel. So because there's 6, we're going to move every single melee person. You know what? Actually, let's have Grogu jump on the melee guy since he was going to move to him anyway. Because every melee person is going to move 2 towards the child. So now there's a giant mud thorn in the place I was planning to go. That's great. And this guy, I guess, runs down like that. And this guy runs like that. Any more melee? That's it. Thank God. We still have to do our actual event. Draw attention. Flip the nearest face-down threat token. This was from... Oh, of course, Paz is the only one who actually went. So nearest face-down. Oh, the one that we wanted to know about anyway. And it's also an enemy. And one that hurts you if you leave their space. Great. What was that guy again? He only had like 1 life, but I think he was a sentry. Oh, man, we need to attack pretty hard here. And it's the end of the event phase, and nobody's carrying Grogu. No! And now we've got... Okay, another one of those, and a 1. That's what is this running point. Move 1 damage from your character to a damaged enemy within range 3. Doesn't help at all because Migs is not damaged yet. So he's definitely going to play 1 and 4. I could attack to try to get to the child, but then they're going to activate if I do the 4 to like blast those people. Wait, maybe this is smarter. What if I move in here just to pick him up? And then, yes, I'll get hurt moving out of that guy's space, which means I would drop him again. Oh, my gosh. All right. Oh, gosh. This is going to be a bloodbath, y'all. That's good. I wanted to show you how the later stuff, and I didn't have to play on the hardest difficulty. You could play like the extra missions and stuff on much easier difficulties, not replacing the tougher enemies, not having a reduced hand size, all that stuff. Because I did 4 damage to him, and then this is happening. What have we got? Blaster fire. One of these guys moves 2, and then one of them shoots 2. Now here, this is where you can be nasty, or sorry, 2 of them are doing each of those things. You can have enemies that won't attack move, and then have nobody in range to attack, and still have fulfilled the card. See, I'm not going to move either of these guys, I'll move these guys. So they're both going to run forward clearly. And then nobody can shoot, but because, only 1 space. But because I at least resolved some action for them, they still count as having gone. And our new one is one of our activate everybody ones. Just lovely. But hey, Grogu's being carried. He's not getting hurt. All right, now we have a bunch of MiG stuff. It's a better intel one. And then, okay, I guess he has to move, though, and attack. I don't know if I want to do any intel right now. Yeah, so I guess I want to move him up and attack. Should I get moved to, like, the 5, maybe? Sure, why not? Let's go just play with a giant mud thing. And then we'll do an attack and waste that, having the intel bonus, and we'll finish off the guy threatening Paz. And yay, nothing went off. Okay, what we got? Anticipate. Plan. If you plan with this one, deal 1 damage to a threat within range 2. That's a big planning one. I might be able to use Paz's ability. And then that's also a good planning one. Well, crud. I mean, I could attack with this instead and blast the guy that's on me so that I can move away without getting hurt, clear a bit more of a space. Yeah, it seems like maybe that's the best thing to do. Although, man, if I use this to plan, I would get a ton of planning things, which would also help, like, Paz's abilities go off. And it does 1 damage to a threat within range 2, so I can just, like, kill that sentry guy that's kind of going to be annoying, probably. And you know what? Forget it. I'm going to do that. So I get to throw off 4 plan cards. And get rid. Ooh, okay. So I'm definitely going to use Paz's ability, just because it seems to make sense here. And instead of only keeping one of these, he's going to keep one of each. So Retaliate, you didn't see last play. After an enemy deals you damage, even if you block it, discard this to deal 2 damage to the enemy. Strategize and Defend, you saw. And I'll go ahead and put the other Defend on top of the deck, because, again, you can do that for 1 card. And then you can deal 1 damage to anyone within range 3. Let's just kill that guy. Second action. I could do running. Oh, no, he's not hurt yet. So let's do this. Can't do plan again for the bonus. I don't want to move 1. I guess we could just do like a little plinky attack. Or we could intel like an enemy farther away, but I don't know if that will help with the current event card. Yeah, let's just do a little attack. And start damaging this melee guy. And that also means like Migs can use his abilities on him and stuff. All right, and then, boom, we're doing a plan. We didn't get to 6, so we're not doing the free move for melee. Okay, so 1 melee moves 3. I remember with the hunted ability, melee, this always moves towards Grogu. I think actually, let's have this big guy move here, because then theoretically I can just like kill this guy and move away from him anyway. Okay, 1 gun guy moves 2. That's the one with armor. I mean, this one's going to be annoying since he's got sentry, so let's like move him in here and just get him in our sights, I would say. And then one of the snipers moves 1. This guy, I don't want to like have everyone in that space. Oh, and that guy's both types. Interesting. It's another sentry. Well, I guess that's the one I moved before, isn't it? Yeah, let's just move him back without taking damage. And now if I somehow get 1 billion attacks, I can kill them all. All right, and what did I get? Trigger Man. Ooh, deal 2 damage to a threat within range 3. If the threat was already damaged, resolve this ability 2nd time. See? Very nice. And then hold them off. Choose any character that has a planning card. They perform a free 2 strength action of their choice. So I can get a lot of attacks is what I'm thinking here. Although those are both moves. So I'd have to do running point, which would require being damaged. Okay, well, let's start with Trigger Man. We're going to pop move, but it was about to pop anyway. So we get to do 2 damage to a threat within range 3. Let's do it to our injured guy. And then if he was already injured, which he was, we get to do 2 damage again to a threat within range 2. Let's kill, I guess this guy so I can move away from here. Maybe try to get towards the egg. Oh, and I just realized he doesn't actually move with that action. He's just doing what that was because, yeah, it has no value. And then I guess, yeah, let's do this. It's wasting the cool hold them off ability, which is a bummer. But I really don't want to pop. Well, I guess I could pop running point. It would just be a waste, though. Move 1 damage from your character to a damaged enemy. Migs doesn't have any damage, unfortunately. Or maybe fortune. Oh, hold on. I could use strategize, couldn't I? Yeah, let's use strategize to see what another card could be. Draw 2 more. That's better, maybe. I got overwhelmed. Do 2 damage to a threat within range 2. May discard 1 of your planning cards. Darn it, I don't have one yet to resolve this ability a 2nd time. So let's save that. But I got a basic 2 here. So he could attack for 2 and kill the sentry or the melee guy. We got another like everybody does stuff card on top, and we don't know what the 2nd card will be because we'll resolve both of them. Yeah, so actually let's kill the sentry and know that he's gone, so we're not going to be getting plinked as we move around. And then we won't draw anything, which means this is our hand next turn. That's maybe a terrible thing. Because I'm going to have, like, nothing on anything, and then I'll have to play one of these. Bleh. So never mind. We are going to do the attack, blast that guy, even though it's a bit of a waste. So that means just this one is popping, just for the 5. And what have we got? Close quarters combat. The nearest enemy moves 1 space toward you. This is him. Then if it's in your space, it attacks you. Oh, which is the 2 guy. Now, he does have a defend, but he doesn't have any damage yet, and he has that card that moves damage, so he's going to tank the damage, since he's not carrying Grogu, and then retaliate to kill this guy. So he's still just got the 1 defend card. That worked out kind of better, right? There's another question mark on top as we go into the next turn. Okay, so now I really want to, like, do an overwhelm, or I guess running point. Yeah, okay, running point will do. Instead of attack. So he can just move 1 damage from him. Oh, to a damaged enemy within range 3. Gosh darn it. Now there's no enemies that are damaged. And that's the attack action. Crud. I mean, I can use this to do 2 damage. It's just that I wish that I had a planning card so I could benefit from the 2nd part. But, okay. I'll do that. So deal 2 damage to a threat within range 2. I don't really care about this guy. He just respawns. So I guess I'm going to hit him. Almost kill him. And that's all it does. And then we got to do the 2 basic card. Do you want to move? Do you want to plan more? I mean, he's still got a defend card. And intel, we know that one sucks. You don't need to know about these because we've got a straight shot to the Jawa. So yeah, so let's move him towards the egg. All right, this one pops, but it's not a 6 because it was just a tactical card. What are they doing? Oh no, swarming. All right, so we've got one enemy on the nearest. That was a Paz card that fired it off, but I think... Okay, there's just those two. So nearest would be here. It's just a 3. Okay, that was one of the special ones. And then one on the other, a 3 with the ability to... Oh, and it's a melee guy. It's going to move more often. We got another question mark on top. And remember, all we got to do is get through to the egg. Oh, I forgot I could be drawing Grogu cards. That's okay. All right, what we got now? Automated weapon mounting. Instead of performing a 1 damage action, deal 1 damage up to 3 different threats within range 2. Pretty darn cool. Now, this guy's not within range 2 because he can't count through the red spaces. And then we got running. Okay, so it's all him again, which means these are not looking great. I could have him attack the melee guy. Could attack here, but he has a defend thing, so if he flips and happens to get a defend... Although I've seen a lot of defend cards, the chance of a defend being on the bottom of the planning deck is pretty low. Well, you know what? Here's what I want to do first. Silly or not, I'm going to move 1, because that way I'm not wasting it. And I go in here, and I get... Darn it! Oh, man, it's a sentry, so he takes another damage automatically. And it's the one who can't be moved by intel. He's at 2 damage, not too terrible. Where are the Mandalorians? A lot of these should be them. Look, they can give you 2 damage to a threat within range 2, or perform a free 3 action. They're pretty dang awesome. Well, whatever, yeah. I'm doing a big 4 attack. Oh, God. I guess I'll take out the sentry guy to tell me so I don't take damage going back, too. Oh, and I do still have the defend, but I'm not going to get rid of that on damage, just in case like one of Paz's abilities can help me out. All right, so I'm drawing 3. Infiltrate. Ooh, I'm performing this action, ignore enemy abilities. You can also move through damaged enemies, but not tokens and all that. Okay. And then running point, we'll just take one of his damage off him. And I got a 2 for this guy. Would actually be best for like planning, right? So let's just do like an innocuous 2 for him. He's just kind of hanging out with the Mudhorn. He's not hurting anybody. And it's still a question mark on top, so we might continue not hurting anybody. Ooh, and I got... dang it, I can't keep both of these. So let's put the defend on Paz, who doesn't drop the child if he gets attacked, and put the retaliate back on top. And then I can move with infiltrate, although again, that might be better like trying to run back once I get the egg. So we gotta do running point. And move 1 damage from my character to a damaged enemy within range 3. I mean, looking at the board state, all these guys are melee, so they're going to keep on running towards the child whenever they activate. Because I could do this for attack, and it would kind of clear it out as though it were a 1. Yeah, okay, let's do this. So he'll take away 1 of his 2 damage and put the other one on, I don't friggin' know, this 3 guy. There we go. Okay, so that one's going to pop for an event. Thermal detonator. Deal 1 damage to any character. Well, clearly that'll be Miggs, and he's still going to keep his defense, so he's at 2. I don't want Paz to lose his defend or drop the child. Oh, no, we got a melee activation. There's a billion of those guys. Oh, and they're all going to charge. No. So I might want to just, like, run him away. Ooh, what do you get? Heavy blaster cannon. Instead of performing this action, deal 2 damage to up to 3 different targets at exactly range 1. Gosh, that would be good. Oh, and he doesn't have any movement. So that seems like the kind of thing I use next turn, and this turn just do this stuff. That's a boosted attack, so if I did that, he would be able to kill that guy he hurt. But then I'd be wasting the infiltrate. What if I just move 1? Yeah, I'm trying to, come on, give me a Mandalorian. No! Why? You know what? Forget you, buddy. You're dead, okay? I'm just infiltrating your face. There you go. You got infiltrated. And yeah, we're still not at 5 for anything, so that's good. And, okay, determination. When performing this action, add 2 strength for each planning card you have. Wow. So he's only got the defend, but still, that would be a 4 strength card for any action, even though it only counts as a 2. And then he could do his heavy blaster. Well, the question is, do I want to, like, be running him into hell while he's about to maybe get hit by a lot of people and drop the baby? Because I've got a move card for him. He could get in there and get the egg, and there might be a Mandalorian there. But I haven't had him do almost anything recently. Okay, let's have him do a 2 move. Oh, that is going to fire off the bad thing. Darn it. And then heavy blaster. Oh, there's going to be a lot of events. Okay, so he can move up to 4 because of his bonus. Let's just get in here. And then he's going to heavy blaster. So up to 3 different people can get 2 damage. So that'll defeat this hurt guy. Now let's do 2 damage to that one. And 2 damage to this one. Forget that armored dude. Ooh, and then Mig's ability at the start of any player's turn, so we can't do it now. He can move 2 damage from one enemy to any different enemies. So we could, like, move the 2 to the 4 guy and finish him off. But yeah, this might have been a horrific tactical mistake. Maybe I should have just stayed back. But I wanted to be able to, like, use both characters. All right, so a 6 means that every melee unit is moving 2 towards the child. Oh, my lord, y'all. This was a bad idea. Oh, God. I can't even see him anymore. Okay, and then... Okay, only one of them attacks, though. We got to defend cards so we don't drop Grogu. So that could have been worse. but they're all moving 3. Oh, God. All right, so yeah, one of them attacks, and we'll defend against it. Oh, no. Why? Oh, we got another event. And yeah. Oh, wait. They all move 3. And if it was a 6+ resolve additional, yay, nothing happens. Woo! Although we got everybody goes, but yes, that could have been so much worse. And that's it. Yes, if they all just stay where they are, they're all just staring at me. It's a standoff. Okay, what have I got? I got the automated weapon thing again, which would be perfect for a single move, and then a big move. What is this? Vibroblade. If you have a retaliate planning card, deal 5 damage to an enemy in your space. It's pretty dang cool. Yeah, speaking of enemies in my spaces, I've just created a blockade for the egg. All right, well, let's try the basic one. We're going to move to here. And finally, God, so he picks up the egg. And what can I do with these? During your action step, you may discard a covert Mandalorian to deal 2 damage to a threat within range 3 or perform a free 3 strength. You know what? He's going to come say hi. He wants to be part of the ruckus. Because now his final move, we can get to the Jawa. We can win this. Okay, so we're going to Vibroblade. I don't know. This dude. Yeah, getting rid of all those sentries was definitely key here. And hey, you know what? Just because we didn't do it yet, let's draw a Grogu card for one of our 2. Hovering Pram. Move the child up to 2 spaces. If the child was carried first, drop it. That's not the best one. Because in this mission, he would get hurt if we let go of him. But you know what is the best? Boom! Movement. 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye. Oh, crud. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, they do 2 damage to him, which if he uses his defend, leaves him with 3. We can handle 3. That's fine. Oh, you know what? Let's go and use his ability, too, at the start of my turn. Because I wanted to move this 2 to this guy. You're dead. And then I don't want to have an event go off because I do have to survive until the end of the turn. So we'll just have him intel. What were you? Oh, another Mandalorian, of course. All right, so we got pretty close there on a harder difficulty setting. Of course, we could have also played a mission with a hidden traitor. I don't know how the heck you would win those kind of things with how challenging these missions already are. But that's the 1-2 punch of the Mandalorian Adventures. And now you've seen really a lot of what the game has to offer. And I will have a review that will be fairly spoiler-free, although I guess if you're watching this part, you already know the spoilers, in just a little bit. And at the end of many of our videos, I'd like to thank our biggest Patreon supporters, the ones who do the most to keep the channel going. They are J. Willie MF, Steve Wren, and Pedro Lucas. Thank you all so much. And everybody else, good gaming, and we'll see you at the next stop.